Hello, everybody. Welcome to Global Design Talk by btrax. I'm John Hayato Branderhorst, Director of Operations, and I'm excited today to be speaking with Cat Oshiro, who I've known since, we'll say 2007, when Yelp communities and kind of that was a way to meet people, like in person back in the day. And so, yeah, we're talking 16 years later.
Yeah.
We've both moved away from the Bay Area, but we just happen to be in San Francisco today. So, Cat, welcome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
And, before us having this conversation, I didn't really talk to you much about what you did. Like, I don't think this was a conversation point when we were hanging out at happy hours.
That's true.
That's right?
Yeah.
And so, please tell everybody kind of like who you are, your background, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah. Well, my name is Cat Oshiro. I am a product designer and illustrator, born and raised in Sacramento, California. My work ranges from working with a lot of different types of tech companies, ranging from media to consumer packaging and even into cannabis. So I've had 15 plus years in the industry. Got my hands in a variety of things, of product design, branding, illustration, and that sort of thing.
Got it. And the design industry has changed quite a bit, I would say, since you joined.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about how it's changed over the years and how you've adapted, I guess?
Yeah. So I went to college at Chico State, and I studied graphic design. And when I studied graphic design, I was studying mostly print. So when I moved here in 2007, I was looking for a design job, and that was sort of kind of the point where print was sort of dying out and everything was kind of moving digital. So it was really hard. I wanted to do publication design initially, and it was really hard to find a job.
Yeah.
And so I ended up kind of looking around and deciding, okay, well, I should look into another type of design, I guess, because this isn't working out for me.
Yeah. Options are limited.
Yeah, they were very limited, and I kept getting shot down by so many companies. And so finally I looked into, there was a intern position as a web designer for a small web firm.
Okay.
So I was like, all right, well, I might as well take it. And so funny thing is, growing up, I loved web design anyway, and I would tinker with my own websites just for fun as a hobby. So I kind of wasn't really familiar with it. So I was like, all right, well, I might as well give it a shot. And now I'm here doing what I'm doing. So I've just seen the industry change a lot in that sense. Even just from web design now, I guess it's considered product design. And so when I went to school, product design didn't really exist at all. Yeah. And so I don't have any formal education on it. I know now, kids can go to college and take a UI UX course. And then for me, it's been mostly self-taught and just a lot of like professional projects and whatnot, and learning that way. Yeah. Because there's no formal courses for me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I know a lot of, I would say, UI or UX, whether researcher designers, who didn't study that in college. A lot of people, I think, have also kind of been going down the path of boot camps and things like that. So they'll do a year-long boot camp or 6 months or however long it is, and then kind of start working at a company doing that. And then they, it has, in the last couple of years, they've been in demand, I'd say, those kinds of roles.
Yeah. There's a lot of resources out there, and for free too, so you can learn a lot on your own, and just, it's all about just personal experience working in the real world and getting those skills. And part of product design is also, there's a psychological aspect to it too, so really understanding how people use their brains to navigate products and websites and apps and that sort of thing.
And the barrier to entry is so, I won't say low, but like if you're wanting to design a website now, you don't need to know code. Yeah. Right? Like you don't need to know HTML. Even, WordPress is a little bit more complicated for a lot of people, but
it does make it easy for, I don't want to say normal person, but an everyday person to use, and build a site. But I will say, like, I did, learn a lot about CSS and HTML on my own, and I've kind of always learned it on my own. And I felt like that really helped my designs as well because knowing the coding side of things, like sometimes you'll design something that looks really pretty, but in reality, you can't develop a site like that. So it's really being mindful in that sense too of knowing what can actually be built versus not.
Got it. Yeah. I mean, at one point I did study HTML, but it had nothing to do with me wanting to design my own or, create my own website. I just wanted to know what was being talked about, or like if I wanted to have something developed, I wanted to have just enough knowledge to be able to have a conversation with the developer.
Yeah.
Right. But knowing that there's no way I'd ever. And at btrax, I don't. I'll talk to the designer and be like, "Is this possible?" And nowadays, we were using a tool called Webflow. Now we're using something called Framer, which is very much designer friendly to be able to create some pretty amazing sites.
So many tools out there.
Stay tuned as we relaunch the btrax website soon. Something we've been working on for a bit. But all right, enough about that. Where do you get your design or industry news, or is there anybody you follow?
I mean, I kind of just scour the internet and I look on Twitter and all that stuff just for
All right.
And I don't follow one person because I like to just pull from different things just to see what's out there. So
all right.
I don't really have a hero or anyone.
I get it. I feel like somebody asked me the same question.
I feel like when I was younger, I used to be like, oh, I love this XYZ designer. But now I'm like, I've done it for so long. It's like, it's interesting to just get inspiration from all over the place. Even if it's not design related, It's just,
Where do you get inspiration from?
The world.
There's no specific first.
Cartoons, everything.
Interesting. Are you an anime person?
I'm not. That's funny because I'm really... People always assume because I'm Japanese that I love anime, but I like animations, like cartoons and stuff. I grew up watching Sesame Street and Alf and Garfield, and that's kind of where my humor comes from, but that sort of thing. So that's why I love drawing monsters and food and that sort of stuff. It's kind of always been my inspiration, I guess.
Okay.
But
did you just say monsters and food?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at my illustrations, a lot of it is food and monsters. So.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm just a huge Sesame Street fan. I've been since I was a kid. So, yeah.
Well, it's interesting talking to somebody who's Japanese, right? You're Japanese, and I'm half Japanese, but I grew up in Japan.
Yeah.
And so when I think of cartoons and anime, there was one American channel, and Saturday mornings had cartoons. But the rest of the week, it was Dragon Ball Z and all these Japanese cartoons.
Yeah, I watched a lot of the classic Japanese cartoons growing up too.
Yeah.
I mean, if I couldn't get them, my family would record them and then ship them here so I could watch them on VHS.
That's awesome. I mean, I had the opposite. When I moved there after college, my dad would send me MTV videos via VHS just so I could have some music videos. That is funny. By the way, so you're talking about cartoons, saying that anime is not really your thing. What do you see as the difference between anime and cartoons?
That's a good question.
I don't know.
Maybe it's the same. I don't know.
Well, I'm gonna look this up, and then I'm gonna add a video being oh, by the way, this will be our blooper reel. Cartoons, American or Western, anime, Japanese. That might be it.
That's probably it. Yeah. But then I like Japanese cartoons versus animes.
Yeah, like Sazae-san.
Sazae-san, or Doraemon, or Chibi Maruko-chan. That's been around for decades. And I enjoy that stuff.
But we wouldn't call it anime.
Yeah.
Right?
Maybe it's a style that it's drawn into.
Could be, yeah. We're going to look into this.
Yeah.
All right. This is a whole nother video that's going to be created based off of this.
You can invite me back to just talk about anime versus cartoon.
Yeah, this is fun.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Tell me a little bit about the design work you've done over the years and how your focus or passion has changed through these different roles, companies, and all the way till now.
So after starting a small web firm, I went into the media side, so tech media, and I worked for a sports company called Bleacher Report. Did product design there for several years. gained a lot of knowledge doing website and mobile app design. And then I moved on to a company called Method Products. And then they're a consumer packaging company. They make sustainable cleaning and body and all that. Yeah. So with that, through those experiences and companies, I learned a lot about sort of designing, or what I wanted to design, I guess. As a designer, there's so many jobs out there, so many companies, and it's like, what do I exactly want to do? Yeah. And just working at Method and seeing like a sustainable company, really seeing that like, my design can have impact in the world. Yeah. And I think that was the point where I'm like, I realized like I could design for something more meaningful instead of just designing something pretty or making it, which is fine too. But I love being able to work on something where, hey, I can kind of make an impact in the world and do a little bit of change and really work for a company that has a great mission. Yeah.
And so does that experience, has that changed how you approach like the companies you want to work for?
Definitely.
Yeah. Are you, and this is kind of a question for anybody who wants to work on a product or service or some sort of design that aligns with maybe what they're interested in terms of passion and things like that. Obviously, sometimes you just have to take what you can get.
That's true,
but any advice for people who, do want to work at a company that maybe it's doing some good in the world or is a B Corp or something like that?
Yeah, definitely. I definitely think you should find what you're passionate about and just, I really encourage people, if you're very passionate about like working for, nonprofits or working for sustainable companies, just really sticking to that, I guess. Yeah. For me, through that, I've also learned really the important thing for me is designing empathetically. So I really take empathy into consideration when my designs, when I'm designing for something. So really thinking about the people, the end user, and the people that are using that product. It's really important to me because if I can make design a little, my designs make people's lives a little bit easier, that's a win for me.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, what I'm passionate about, I guess, and enjoy seeing.
Well, it must be fun when you're like just out and about and you see somebody maybe using a product or something that you helped design or you're a part of.
Definitely,
Is that something like when you're walking around, you kind of keep an eye out?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's
a method. I mean, you don't necessarily see somebody
using websites. Unless I don't know, I'm nosy and I peek over someone's phone or something using the website or something. But I think it makes you feel good.
I'd imagine. Yeah. All right, so you worked at Method and then, so Bleacher, Method, how about after that?
Yeah, so then I moved on to a cannabis company called Caliva based out of San Jose, California. Okay. So there I was hired on as a product designer, leading all their designs on their website, their POS systems, and a little bit of marketing, social, that sort of thing too. Okay. And that too, I really just kind of enjoyed the work. I know cannabis has been changing a lot in the past few years and how it's viewed, and just really thinking about plant-based products. And so seeing it as a way to heal people too, in a sense, because there is also this whole problem with drugs and whatnot. And I think cannabis is, because it's natural, just really seeing that from a holistic perspective, I guess. I really liked the company and how they approached their products. And, they grew their plant indoors, but really from the ground up, as seeing it as, making sure the plants are happy, because that happiness transfers on to the workers. And then once the workers are happy and they package that up, it moves on to the product being in the store, and then the customer walks away happy. Yeah. So just really making the purchase and e-commerce experience smooth as well. So.
And was there a lot of kind of coordination between what you were designing versus package design, and then also the marketing team? Like, how did you all navigate kind of keeping everything not aligned, but making sure that the whole experience was seamless?
I think that's like with any company, you kind of have to cross-functionally work and communicate with each other and really understand the end goal and the user of the entire thing.
Yeah.
I think that's the one big thing is oftentimes designers don't like to talk or do interviews and whatnot. So it's like we just kind of like to stick to our little bubble and on our computer and design.
A little more introverted in some ways.
I think so. Yeah. I
Makes
think
sense.
so. So it's taken me a long time to work on my talking, I guess, skills.
Well, I'm glad.
I'm still working on it, and I hate it still.
No, you did great. I appreciate you making time to kind of chat today. We'll put your contact info in like the description of the video. And just want to say thanks everybody for listening. I hope that you like, comment, subscribe, do all the things. Appreciate it. If you're interested in being interviewed, also you can just send an email to john@btrax.com. So thank you again, Kat.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
We'll look forward to a follow-up video on anime and cartoons.
Yes, I love that. Yeah.
All right. Bye.